We're here to celebrate 200 years since the birth of Louis Braille. Now, Louis Braille was a fantastic innovator, a surprising innovator in many ways. In a blind school in Paris at the beginning of the 19th century, he hit upon the idea that a simple system of 6 dots was all it takes to represent the whole language for somebody with a visual impairment. Braille has really stood the test of time. But with very few developments over the last 200 years. I think the first development had to be the invention of the W to make it work in English, and the later developments of Grade 2 Braille, which means that Braille is very compact. You can use one symbol to signify a whole word or part of a word, which makes it very much more practical to issue documents in Braille that people can handle. Yeah. The Scottish Braille Press produces documents and books in Braille that are sent daily in their thousands to the whole of the UK. It's about empowering people with a visual impairment to take full control of their own lives and to be fully functioning members of society. And reading is by far the number one means of access to what's going on in society.
Well, I'm helping hopefully raise money for the Scottish Braille Press, but also celebrate 200 years of Louis Braille, 200th anniversary of his birth, the guy who invented Braille. Because my youngest son Kit goes to the blind school in Edinburgh, where I'm standing just now, and although he can't use Braille, he's not got the intellectual capacity for Braille. It has meant I've met a lot of kids here at the school who do use Braille, and for whom Braille has been an extraordinary thing. I mean, it's meant that they can lead normal lives. They can have as full a life as possible. Today I'm very excited because the first book of mine to be transcribed in Braille, Death Is Not the End, is being transcribed behind me as I speak to you, and I'm going to get my hands on it later on. You can write about my books for your exams, your A-levels, your O-levels, whatever they happen to be. If blind kids are able to do that as well, then so much the better. And they can't do that with audio books. They can't do it with an audio transcription of the book. So, the more Braille books, the better. It means that the kids can have a much more closely structured syllabus that's like the syllabus every kid who's not visually impaired follows. I've become involved with the Scottish Braille Press partly because my son Kit is visually impaired. He's blind. He comes to the blind school in Edinburgh, and that's meant that I've got involved with some of the kids here. I've actually been interviewed and transcribed into Braille as I've been interviewed by some of the kids. And also because as a writer, of course, I want the widest possible readership for my books, and Braille is a way to get blind people reading my books.
Part of ensuring the future of the press, as well as making people aware of us across Scotland so that businesses will hopefully come to us to produce their Braille literature in future, is to make sure that we have a building that is completely fit for our purposes. As it is, the building works, but there are things that we want to do with the site to make it somewhat better, easier to access, easier to fit in the technology that we need in order to meet deadlines and meet the security requirements that our customers have. We also, in a wider context, need to improve the school and the sports facilities the school has, and the Braille Press building doesn't sit on the part of the site that's most effective for that purpose. So all these together mean that we are now approaching the Scottish public for assistance to bring about major changes to this site.